Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk to you about my connection to dance and movement within the context of dance movement therapy and explore my ideas regarding the agents of change in psychotherapy. My philosophy of the body, dance movement psychotherapy, and counseling is based in the belief that one's body holds all of the innate knowledge of oneself through implicit somatic memory. The body is the essential tool in dance movement therapy through which an individual can integrate their mind-body connection through the integration of thought, feeling, and sensation. Dance movement therapy utilizes a unique theoretical approach that differs from that of other therapeutic modalities or traditional talk therapy. By exploring sensation, we allow the wisdom of the body to do the therapeutic work and serve the process of cognitive change. The symbolic nature of movement that is innate to humans' communication systems allows us to tune into our sensations and access a deeper level of intrapersonal awareness, which can expand our capacity to relate to others in relational attunement. Through movement and creative exploration, an individual's insight in therapy can be enhanced within the context of the therapeutic relationship. My approach relies on a relational process that allows clients to take charge of their own process in therapy, as well as turn to the therapist as another human being as a guide on their personal journey. For this reason, I resonate with the United Kingdom Association for Dance Movement Psychotherapy definition of DMP as a relational process in which clients and therapists engage in an empathetic creative process using body, movement, and dance to assist in the integration of emotional, cognitive, physical, social, and spiritual aspects of the self. I believe that psychological, physiological, and neurocognitive functions are deeply interrelated within the system of the individual. I hold great value in the belief that any adverse experience can manifest as trauma within the body relative to the individual's experience. To honor the whole identity of my clients, I utilize a trauma-informed body-based practice. Changes at a movement level can affect the overall health and function of one's being: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I believe this is an essential goal in any psychotherapeutic method or modality, as one's health depends on their holistic well-being. I believe that the ability to creatively express oneself through authentic movement allows clients to explore content at a deeper cognitive and somatic level. Dance has been used as community healing practice since before the invention of spoken language and precedes the field of dance movement therapy, as well as dance as entertainment. Movement is an inherent part of being human. It is the very first way that we are seen, experienced, and understood in the world and in relationship to others. I believe that dance is individual, relational, social, cultural, and universally accessible language. Movement is the single thing that transcends all individuals. Movement is core to the essential function of the universe. As soon as we exist, long before we can use the symbolic form of spoken language, we seek connection through the body with those around us. I believe that every single human, regardless of ability, has access to an innate kinesthetic communication system which allows us to be in relationship with one another outside the context of language. I have always believed that artistic expression is the truest form of one's self-expression. I believe that my philosophy aligns mostly with that of Marion Chase, Trudy Shoup, and Alma Hawkins. Over the last 5 years of learning about the development of dance movement therapy in the United States, I have honed in on many specific elements from the various founders which I have extracted and applied to my own approach. Marian Chase based her work in the belief that dance functions as communication, which fulfills a basic human need. She connected to the work through the mechanisms of symbolism, the body as the source of information, synchronous rhythmic movement, and the essence of the therapeutic relationship. I can identify these elements throughout my philosophy and work as well. I also work with the idea in which Trudy Shoup focused her philosophy, that rhythm is a central function of the universe, from the microcosm of an atom to the orbit of the planets. There lives within us a ceaseless force. I believe this force to be the kinetic energy created by movement. Deep within ourselves, humans know everything that we need to know. The body is the source of all this lived knowledge and information. I also resonate with Alma Hawkins' orientation to humanistic psychology and the integration of the polarized entities of mind and body. This influences the role of internal somatic practice that enhances healing via internal processing and open-ended personal exploration of meaning with each individual client. By engaging in an individualized creative process, the therapist is present as the facilitator of change from a place of intuitive sense within the client. I would like to emphasize that this is my personal connection to the work that informs my practice. My approach to utilizing dance movement therapy within the therapeutic process is tailored to the role of each client's sensory awareness and interpersonal attunement. My work takes these American dance movement therapy theories and builds on each individual's preference in order to create an individualized approach to therapy. In theory and introspective somatic practice within therapy, my work takes an integrative approach. Integrative counseling combines several relevant approaches to psychotherapy that integrate different elements of specific counseling theories and psychotherapeutic modalities. Like integrative therapists, I take the view that there is no single approach that works for everyone in all situations of therapy. I utilize an attachment, neurodevelopment, neurobehavioral, and relational social lens which informs my perception of clients' individual experiences and their sensory responses to positive and stressful events in their life. I believe that early experiences in relationship are also valuable source of information for clients' psychosocial functioning and well-being. This aligns mostly with psychoanalytic theories of counseling, which emphasize the importance of early human development in relationship on the effects of individual growth and perception throughout the lifetime. My theoretical approach largely pulls from person-centered counseling, which incorporates a multicultural biopsychosocial lens and values the client's personal experience and insight into their feelings within the therapeutic process. Considering these intersecting elements of people's identity is inherently embedded in how I view clients. This is the fundamental piece to all therapeutic modalities, methods, or approaches. I believe it is essential to consider how each element of an individual's identity affects their experiences and perceptions of themselves, others, and society. The client is the owner of their own lived information and has the most access to insight into what works best for them. In this sense, I see the therapist as a holding container in which the client can safely process information within the context of the therapeutic relationship. I often use a developmental and attachment-based lens to look at movement and movement development. I often use the Kestenberg movement profile terminology. I also incorporate elements of Laban movement analysis to support my observations from a developmental perspective. The range of language between these assessments used in DMT allows movement preference and data to reflect an individual's development over their lifespan. I refer to these elements of movement to associate symbolic meaning manifested in client movement preferences and patterns related to behavior and psychosocial functioning. This does not mean that I prescribe meaning or interpretation to movement, but rather use elements of movement observation and analysis to support my personal observations and perceptions of the client's movements, preferences, and tendencies to assist them in their own interpretation and meaning making. I believe that therapeutic change occurs in a cyclical manner. It may even feel more like a vortex at times. But I think there is value in knowing that change rarely happens all at once. I like to think of the therapeutic process much like the creative process. For a long while, it may feel like no change is occurring, but by seeing the process through, you may realize that your body and mind were doing the work the whole time, even if you were not aware that work was getting done. I acknowledge the fact that therapy does not always feel good and might even make clients think, what is the point in trying? But I believe that those are the exact agents of change that bring people into therapy in the first place. I believe that acknowledging and accepting these feelings of discomfort, uncertainty, and even pain is a valuable tool in the journey to embodying oneself fully. This can be accessed in various approaches within the movement therapy relationship, including processing emotional content and memories symbolically through sensation in the body, using the body as a resource for remembering and knowing what the individual has experienced on a somatic level, and utilizing the client's individual movement preferences and patterns to therapeutically build on existing psychosocial functioning and coping skills. From my perspective, therapy is a highly personalized process that meets the needs of the individual at any given moment. Creativity within the therapeutic process is collaboratively formed and processed through an intersubjective movement relationship. Authenticity from both therapist and client plays a vital role in this process. To quickly give a practical example of the integration of this work, I will describe a DMT session with a child with behavioral diagnosis. This child presented with strong attachment trauma-related responses within the context of the movement therapy relationship. He was hyperreactive, hyper-aware, extremely sensitive to sensory experience, and consistently hyper-aroused, telltale signs of trauma to the central nervous system and social engagement system. By integrating a client-focused, trauma-informed, and body-based internal sensation focused approach, I was able to witness the inherent power of movement within the therapeutic relationship. By creating a safe and holding therapeutic space, clients have the opportunity to safely engage and sit with difficult experiences, emotions, and sensations, while increasing coping skills and tolerance. My work embraces present movement sensation and aims to connect internal sensation with experiences of feelings to increase client self-awareness. To quote American dance therapy pioneer Marion Chase, movement is the medium in which we live our lives.